Here is an explanation for the answer to final exam, question number 32, in Alternative Energy Demystified, 2nd edition. If you have the printed book, you'll find this question on page 316. How do some small-scale generators for residential use circumvent the need for constant motor speed? Well, keep in mind, in general, we have 60 hertz or 60 cycles per second of AC in the United States, 50 hertz or 50 cycles per second in some other parts of the world. In order to get that frequency of AC out of a generator that has just a motor running it and nothing else, what we need to do is make sure that that motor that runs that generator, that engine or whatever it is, turns at the same exact speed, 60 revolutions per second. In the United States, that would be 3,600 revolutions per minute, or 3,600 RPM. Or 3,000 RPM if you want 50 hertz out of the generator. Well, that's very difficult to do, as the generator has a increasing and decreasing load on it. That's going to tend to drag the motor down slower or make it run faster. So how do we get rid of that problem? How do we keep the frequency at 60 hertz or 50 hertz in some parts of the world constantly, regardless of the motor speed, that is to say, the motor which turns the shaft of the generator? Well, the answer is that we can convert the generated AC that comes right out of the generator to regulated DC, that's direct current. We can do that with a plain old power supply like you would have with your computer, kind of like a power brick, big oversized power brick that produces a constant low voltage DC. And then we can use a power inverter to generate the clean AC from that DC. Well, a power inverter is used for a lot more things besides just that application. Here's a simplified block diagram of a power inverter. Here's our low voltage DC input that we might get from the power supply attached to our generator. Positive, negative. It goes into something called a chopper, which interrupts the DC, breaks it up into pulses. And these pulses are carefully regulated at a frequency of 60 hertz or 50 hertz in some parts of the world. Then we have a transformer, and that steps the voltage up to the required voltage that we want. In the United States, that's 110 to 130. In some other parts of the world, 220 to 250 or 260. But in any case, this particular item right here, this chopper, this is a very simplified rendition of this type of a device, because the chopper must not only chop those pulses up, but then it must smooth them out and make a nice, clean sine wave out of it. Just plain pulses. If you run some appliances off of choppy AC like this, like an ordinary incandescent light bulb, they'll work just fine. But if you try to run a computer off of one of those crude types of power inverters, you're going to have a whole lot of trouble. The computer isn't going to like it. It's going to have it's going to crash all the time, and I know that because I've actually experienced that problem. But a power inverter like this is used for a lot of things to get utility AC. You can use it with batteries. You can use it with a wind turbine. You can use it with solar panels, or combinations of batteries, wind turbines, water turbines, anything. You can use one of these, and in fact, an inverter like this is a fundamental component of just about any home electric system that uses alternative sources. But once again, the correct choice here is B. We can use one of these things, a power inverter, to take the DC that we get from a power supply attached to the generator. So we actually convert the AC from the generator into low voltage DC, and then convert that low voltage DC back into pretty much the very same AC that we could have gotten out of the generator in the first place. The only difference is that this chopper and associated circuitry cleans up that wave and makes sure that it stays at exactly the right frequency that we need in order to run sophisticated electronic things like computers. And I have, in fact, a Honda small generator which incorporates one of these things, and it runs my computers just fine.